name on it, the 420, man.
Hey, we trying to do something different, man.
I like it. I
We
like
trying to do
it, man.
something different tonight. Hey, shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for following on the couch with Ryan. I think we took a couple of days, man. We took like 4 or 5 days off. It's been wild around here. I've been getting into like this weird lull, and so now I'm like, you know what? Let's get things popping. Let's get some cool people on the couch, and let's just chop it up for a minute. So we want to do something different, and I appreciate you, Chris, for just giving me the opportunity to do this, man. But Chris Wilkins, man, my guest on the couch tonight, two-time return guest, and also I think a fan favorite, realistically.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a great time, man, the first time that we did this thing. And I've become a big fan of the show, man. Like your consistency, the range of questions, like you got everybody that I actually like that lane. That's who you interview. Like, so like it's really dope to get to see a different side of people that you may not have gotten to see, like, like in your time with them in undergrad. So I appreciate you doing that, man. And also too, I've seen a lot of people, I'm not gonna say swagger jack you, but I see a lot of people, man, coming up with like, the interviews and stuff and like kind of doing their own, like, creative things. So you starting the wave, bro. So like, hey man, keep this thing going, man. For real.
You know what? I'm trying. It's like one of those things where I feel like right now it's almost like expression. You know what I'm saying? Like I get an opportunity to do something that is something I love. Like I remember, I tell people all the time when I went to school, it was like, man, look, I just want to be able to have a good time and be able to just talk to my friends. And I just think doing this, man, it's a vibe, dude. It's a
vibe. Right.
Man, yo. So I want to jump into it real fast, man. How you feeling? What's the update? I know last time we talked, you had a lot of things going on. You had a lot of things popping, and you know what I'm saying. You just getting yourself back on the couch. So let me know, man. What's going good? What's happening?
Man, bro, I'm enjoying this laid off life, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a brother been working his butt off, man, for like at least 10 years, man, and that don't sound like a long time, someone older, but to us, like we're entering like the primes of our lives, you know what I'm saying? So it's a bad thing that the COVID-19 layoffs hit, but in a different sense, it's kind of a blessing too, because like we get to take a break and we get to recharge our batteries. And like I've been learning a lot of things about myself, man. I'm into some weird documentaries, bro, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
What you been watching?
So, all right, bro, don't laugh at me, but it's this thing on YouTube where they have a compilation of car crashes, right? And it's not like fatal car crashes where people die,
right.
But it's car crashes to where like someone just wasn't paying attention, and it's funny to see what happens when the other person jumps out. And like, there's a guy who does documentaries specifically about random car incidents in California. So that's the rabbit hole I find myself down frequently. And yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I started. I was really big in like high school about not being artistic. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy now. But I have no singing ability, acting ability. So somebody put me on to Broadway HD, and so you can watch Broadway shows at home, like on your couch. And I just think like the theater is something that I always wanted to go to and like watch and stuff. But it's like I've been to New York a couple of times. I mean, minimum tickets you paying, is like $80, $150. You know what I'm saying? And then if you want to go to Hamilton or something, that's like, your firstborn child.
So, and that's for the nosebleeds, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, cool. I sat down and I watched The King and I, and it was like one of the coolest things. Like some of the same stuff they were dealing with in, Thailand in 1865 is some of the same stuff we're dealing with now, in 2020. So I just think like, exposing myself to different things while this is happening, not necessarily saying I wouldn't have done it if I was working full time, but I do think being able to find something that you might be able to do because you love it and not because you have to is like a blessing I feel like that's coming out of this.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So did you catch the Jordan documentary, The Last Dance last night?
Oh man, I caught the last episode, bro. I didn't even know that it was a series, man. Like I saw you and like a few more of my friends talk about it on social media, and then like I caught the final episode of it. But man, hey, again, I used to have this debate between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan as far as the GOAT. And the only reason why I put Kareem up there is because he's the all-time leading scorer, and he literally scored like I would say 95% of his all-time points from one shot. Like you knew what go-to move this guy was gonna do, and he literally scored like 95,000 points. And he was a champion also, but
that part.
But Mike, man. I mean, I'm really big about how well you perform in the most pivotal moments, right? So everyone plays for June. I don't care if they have 30 rings or 0 rings. Everybody plays for June. Yeah. And to three-peat twice in between retirements, bro. I mean, as the number one option on the team all 6 times, bro. It's hard to debate that.
You know what's crazy? I saw a stat this morning, and it said LeBron James wins the playoff games 25% of the time if he has Kyrie, or if he has I forgot who the other player was, but it was like Kyrie and somebody else. And then it was like Michael Jordan wins a playoff game 10% of the time without Scottie Pippen. You know, so it's almost like you have to have one. You can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? You can't have Michael's success without Scottie Pippen being able to
absolutely
as a number 2. So it's almost like, are you the GOAT if you don't have the GOAT's backup?
That's a good question, man. And that sounds right, because LeBron has won a lot of playoff games, man. Like, I go hard on him, but LeBron has won a lot of playoff games, man. Like, you know, so you can't debate that, bro. Like, I don't think anybody would have a higher winning percentage if you're just looking at the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I like to conveniently go to the finals, but before you get to the finals, you got to go through the playoffs. So yeah,
did you know how like it's set up, and you just read like I'm a Piston fan like day in day out. That's just me. That's my whole life, and I think that I have an appreciation for Jordan just because I grew up in the 90s like everybody else. They were the Beatles, you know what I'm saying? They were like whoever pulled up. For us, it was like just having that red and black and white starter jacket. Oh my God,
right.
Flipped up.
Thanks, bro. Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, when they kind of started it, and when you heard the intro music,
the intro music,
goosebumps. I was like, bruh, this is it, because it took me back to that place.
It took you back, yes, exactly. It did. Yeah.
The nostalgia
yes.
It wasn't even because you think like, man, the NBA was so much better. And you know what I'm saying? I remember when they had Ahmad Rashad on there on NBC, like standing there, I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, bro, I need that back, man. NBC Sports, man. Shout out to that. That was where it was at.
And you know what, man?
You get that? Yeah.
Bro, I felt that to the core, man. But we kind of get this thing like, and I know what the old heads talk about. We're starting to romanticize what we grew up on. Like, was it really a better NBA than what it is today? We don't know. But in my eyes, man, that NBA on NBC intro, man, and then the Bulls, right? Where the Bulls are running from the stables down to the United Center, and then they give you the starting 5. And the announcer always had more juice for Michael than he did anyone else. I would have been a little salty if I'm Scottie, because, bro, if Jordan is 1A, if Jordan is 1, I'm 1A if I'm Pippen.
But I also feel like if I'm going to have that type of success of 6 championships in 12 years, I mean, you literally win a championship every other year you're in the NBA. It's like, would you trade that for being the number 2 best player in the NBA? I kind of feel like yes, because you can be.
Oh my God, hell yeah, man!
You can be the number 1 player and not win a championship, and that to me is case in point, LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, I feel like Scottie was in that place where he almost had the opportunity to do it in Portland, which would have, I guess, kind of moved him out of the shadow. But how can you ever move out of the shadow of 6 championships, 3 back-to-backs? You can't. Even if you do it yourself,
bro. And that Portland team had so much talent.
Exactly.
Right.
I.e., who wants to leave to do it themselves? It's like, bro, you out there as a team. You're not going to step out and be like, oh, now KD is so much better. It's like, I respect him a lot. I love KD. I think he's one of the best, forwards in the game. But I just feel like, bro, you literally jump ship to prove a point every time when you could have just made the point and apologized for what you did, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. Like he's trying to prove a point that I feel like he's negated like 2 times over by leaving each situation.
Right. But see, Ryan, you think like that because you are an alpha dog. KD's not an alpha dog. He's kind of like a beta male. You know what I'm saying? All the talent in the world, all the God-given ability, but he's not a guy like, if you grew up with KD and y'all were like best friends and y'all took the bus home from school and some boys were trying to fight y'all, you literally got to fight by yourself because KD is not going to help. He's going to run home. You know what I'm saying? But that's him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get what you're saying. Like, I wish he would have stayed in OKC and come back and beat Golden State and like, but as far as like,
you know what I'm saying? I feel like I got so much more respect for Charles Barkley to be like, you know what? He did try to super team at the end, but I don't really count the decline of your career as super team. You know what I'm saying? I think you are a piece of a bigger pie. But my thing is, if you're still on the way up, i.e., what is it? Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James. To me, that is you saying, "Hey, look, let's go ahead. What's better for the goose is better for the gander." You know what I'm saying? Let's all come together and let's win this thing. But then I also feel like if you are that, what's my man out in Portland?
Dame Dollar.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, Dame literally is saying, I'm good. I'm gonna stay out here on my island and I'm gonna go down fighting. Ain't nobody gonna say Dame teamed up with nobody. He did it himself. And I gotta respect that because I feel like that's what Michael did. He could have left and said, I'm finna go to Detroit. I'm finna go and go to Boston. You know what I'm saying? He could have did all those things.
And you know what, man?
As an individual.
Right.
That's what I feel like we missing right now.
And then too, man, like with Scotty, man, like Scotty wasn't that Scotty when he first got to Chicago. Scotty literally averaged like 9 points in 11 his first 2 years in the league. Like he literally like became better over the years, but people act like Scotty was that Scotty out of Central Arkansas University, and he wasn't.
Banging on people coming in the league. Like
Scottie Pippen was really an athletic Devin George, and with insane work ethic, man. And he always had like a high IQ, but he just like worked his butt off, man. And he became that. Like Scottie Pippen to me is a top 5 small forward of all time. Like where you rank him is like debatable, but he wasn't that when he first got to the league. Like Scottie Pippen was like, if you wasn't 6'7", you would not be in the NBA.
So I know that I got my stimulus check. Please don't come rob me, everybody.
I got mine too, bro.
Hey, don't rob us, please. I can say that. I ain't got it no more. But no, man, how you feeling about getting that? And just like, I know last time we talked about it and we were like, oh, well, I don't remember getting that stimulus check. I got it.
Right,
Thank you. But it's wild, man, because I'm like, I went to Walmart that next day and I said I wasn't going to go. I made a concise effort, but it's like literally 2 places that you can go to right now in the United States. And so it was like I had to go. And I was just like, it amazed me the amount of dumb shit that people were getting, man.
Yeah,
and it was
bro.
Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, like where it was at that we needed to get the HD TV. I literally walked down the aisle. There was no PlayStations. There was no, different things. And I understand people are trying to stay busy and we got our own things, but it just was like, wait a minute. Is this what you were supposed to do? And realistically, it wasn't a lot. You know what I'm saying? But
even right.
It's like you still had excess with this. I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But again, I'm just a person.
No, man, I agree with you, man. Like it shows you the thought patterns of the American consumer anytime something like this happens, because we think like, okay, from like a level of practicality, what do I need versus what do I want? You don't use a stimulus on things you want. You use a stimulus on things you need, and you save the rest. But, hey, man, people, they always say common sense isn't common. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it don't surprise me at all that people would buy an Xbox as opposed to maybe paying up rent an extra month or paying up their mortgage or like whatever, you know.
It just seems so awkward though, because I just be like, every time I'd be like, man, every Black Friday and all this stuff, we can always justify some different purchases and stuff like that. But it was just like, bro, with everything that's going on, how do you justify buying a 65-inch TV?
Hey, if you can see the end of the world coming on a 65-inch 4K, why not? Why not, man?
Yo, I guess. Yeah, you might.
Yeah, bro.
You can watch your 65-inch TV in the house while you can't breathe or something like. All right.
My God, man.
I know, but that's the seriousness of it. Yeah. It's like you literally are going to window shop at Walmart to try to figure out what keep your mind occupied, and then you got to be around the virus or potentially be around spreading it to somebody else that don't have it. It's
right. It's crazy, man. Like, how long do you think it'll be until we go back to like regular everyday life? I mean, this is a fond memory, and we get to tell our grandkids about it someday.
I don't know, because I feel like right now it's wild because I feel like everybody is rushing to open everything back up. Which realistically, I think that'll be. I hate to be like this because in my heart of hearts, I just feel like it don't need to open, but I feel like it'll stop some of the dumb stuff that is going to happen from stuff staying closed. And that sucks because that's a trade-off, but I feel like maybe there's potential some people go back to work. Maybe it's less crime because people aren't just thinking about, having no opportunities. And, maybe that's a good thing that the economy gets moving again. But my thing is the cost of life, I think that's terrible that we have to legitimize opening the economy and having to, have people die because of that.
Right. That's the casualty of a capitalistic society, man. Like, it's all about the number.
Title of your next podcast. Shout out to the Be a Man podcast.
Thank you, bro.
Next show is the casualties of
I like that
society. I think that is just people would tune in, man. People would, on their way. Well, God, we're not going to work anymore. On the way from the bed to the couch, they'll tune in.
bro. My couch has an indentation of me on it right now, bro. I'm on that couch so hard, man.
I be surfing. You hear me? I be man, I got that swag.
Yeah, right.
That's in my bag.
Bro, I am on there, man, for real, man. But I think this whole thing, man, like, I don't think the country is ready to reopen because you don't reopen until something has completely plateaued, and it hasn't done that yet.
That's
like, right. And if you reopen doors that were closed, bro, it's going to be like another spike, man. It's going to be another spike, and that's scary.
Where do you feel like is the point where you'll be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and take me and my seed out, and we're gonna just start trying to assimilate back into real life? Because realistically, I don't think I have a point right now. I don't know what that point is.
Yeah, I don't think so either, man. I'm gonna wait till the first wave of people go outside, and if they come back home, then I'll try to, I'll take that risk, But right now, man, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't trust it right now. Because the country isn't reopening because it's safe to go outside. The country is reopening because the money machine, that is the labor force, isn't currently moving. So, like, the whole, like, the motive as to why they're reopening the country, it doesn't sit right with me, and that's not going to motivate me to want to go outside any sooner.
Yeah. I mean, I started thinking, like, okay, would I go to a mall? Would I get to a place where I would be like, all right, let's go ahead and turn up at Chuck E. Cheese, or just some of the things that I feel like, man, like I really took for granted, just being able to get in my car and just be like, I'm finna go to the other side of town, and whatever I see, that's where I'm finna go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll just take those, I guess you would say, like, not mental health days, but I feel like sometimes you just like, I need to roll for a minute, and I just, I'll be back, and I just walk around for a minute, jump in the back of my car, and I'm back at the crib. But I feel like, you take that stuff for granted. But now I'm just like, I don't know if I would even want to take my kids to Disney World. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I would want to take my kids, to Destin to do a beach. And it's just like, because what if the virus is popping down there? You know what I'm saying? Because idiots are, acting wild. It's just, I don't know. It seemed kind of like unnecessary risk. And maybe that's like the shock, or I guess the the reverberation of like what happens in the next 6 to 9 months. Like, how are we going to be thinking about stuff differently?
Yeah, man. But let me ask you this here, man, like as a follow up to that, because you made a good point.
Yeah.
If you go to Walmart, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you just go into Walmart to pick some stuff up, like for the house, how is that different than you going and taking the family to an Atlanta Hawks game and you're around 20,000 people? Like, how is that different?
You know, I don't consider myself a specialist in any way, or I don't feel like I watched like half of Contagion. I just figured out, okay, a lot of people they figure out an antidote, you know what I'm saying? And then boom, we got it. You know what I'm saying? I understand where the movie is gonna go, right? It's like a Marvel movie, right? It's gonna start,
right.
A little bit, and
the apex of it.
Exactly. Then boom, he's back in it, and then we're off to the Avengers in the 6 years.
Right.
But no, man, it's not realistically. I don't think, you know, even with the severity of everything, my kids, like, one of the first things they'll do when they get in there, they'll pull it down over their nose so they can talk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want that. I want this. And then they'll actually get in the basket because that's the easiest way to transport. You know what I'm saying? As your child gets older, you'll see when you're in the stores, you want to keep them away from the stuff to steal as well as knock down.
Right. I got you.
And be like, I want this, you know, and it's like, I'm gonna melt down. So I keep them in the basket. So then to me, I'm like, okay, when they're spraying or the carts down, they have one person at our Kroger and our Target and Walmart that literally stands there with the basket, and I'm giving it to you and I'm spraying it with the spray so you can see it and you walking off with it, right?
Okay.
He not spraying the inside of that basket.
They just spray the handle part, but they're not spraying the inside where the baby would sit at.
So both of my kids are in that thing and around. Then, you know, most of the, I'll be honest, like if they don't have gloves when they go, because nobody makes kid size rubber gloves. So, you know, it's like they're exposed just as much as if they were at an event with 30,000 people. I think with those, you know, in those situations, I think you would just make a conscious decision not to go. And I think that's where I'm like, that's the difference where I'm like, could I be around 20,000 people today or could I not? And I feel like right now, probably till maybe the end of the summer or maybe longer, I don't see myself being like, bruh, even if they say, all right, we're going to open up, Summer Jam, or we're going to have some festival, I don't really think I would put myself in that situation. Like, I just don't, man. So, I mean, I don't, to answer your question though, I don't think there's any difference between me going to Walmart and legitimately going to a Beyonce concert at the Mercedes Stadium. It's just, you know, I have to go to Kroger because I gotta eat, you know?
Right. And I asked that because they try to break things down as far as an essential business versus an unessential business. And I get that, right? But
hair stores are essential. How are hair stores essential, bro? I don't understand that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just I get frustrated when I drive by. I'd be like, how are you essential? It doesn't make sense. I'd be like, y'all are literally the example of not essential.
Right. Yeah. Somebody has said that about liquor stores. And I'm like, wait a minute. Being a functioning alcoholic, I can say that liquor stores are essential, especially during these times. Right? I mean, like, not really, but, you know, just comedically, yeah, like it's kind of
and that's the way I feel like about marijuana and like everybody on 420. Shout out to 420 today, everybody.
Hey, shout out, hey.
You know what I'm saying? It's a holiday to be celebrated. This year of our Lord 2020. But I just feel like, you know, these are things that help people get through. I don't look at it as any different with, you know, in moderation. I like that word just because I feel like you can put it in so many different spaces and words. But I just feel like, you know, if you can say, hey, this person has a drink at night to be able to unwind a little bit and function and just be able to be in a better mood from having to deal with the craziness of just life in general. Okay, cool. To me, that's the same as somebody taking a Paxil or whatever drug they take, you know, for antidepressants. So I mean, it's just to me, I just feel like it's, if you're not doing it to the point where you can't function and you're in a place that you're, you know, obviously dealing with it in a healthy way, okay, you know what I'm saying? I can't say nothing to you. But if you're in a place where you're like, all right, look, I can't go and shower without taking this hit, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's a different 100%.
Right.
That's dependency. So I mean, I think there's a difference between, you know, being able to be a social drinker or to be able to potentially be an occasional marijuana smoker because you got a bad back and you feel like you don't have the money to go to a chiropractor every, 6 weeks. Just thoughts from Brian on the couch. Just thoughts, everybody.
And one more question, man, like about the coronavirus, bro. Like, so we can move on and talk about something else. I've noticed that, I have gotten to spend a lot more time with my son.
That part.
During this time. Now, that's good. And that can be kind of tiresome also at times. So how do parents and couples, I'll say, how do you still have those like boundaries to where like you can still enjoy the person you're with or enjoy yourself and still give your kids that time? Because now everything is all together. At the house is the job if you work from home. At home it becomes the school now because the kids are going.
I think what you do is you say you have to find creative ways to stay connected, right? Because I think that there's a difference between being in the same space, being connected, and actually, just getting on each other's damn nerves, right? So I feel like, for me and my wife and my kids, it's like I try to have the kids on a schedule so that they know, hey, these are the things that we're going to do. We're going to, get dressed. We're going to have breakfast. I don't literally iron up their clothes and be like, all right, school time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just have them sit down, you know what I'm saying? Get started. My daughter's in preschool. So it's like, we just doing like basic stuff I feel comfortable with, so I wasn't growing up too much more. My son, he was like, Dad, I need help with fractions. I was like, yo, mama is over there, Playboy. I got a degree in communication, sir.
Right. Thanks, man.
We're gonna go back to that. But no, man, I think the big thing is having a comfortable space to be able to, and everybody doesn't have a perfect spot. It's not, you got a 5-bedroom house and we got, 3,000 square feet. But I feel like if everybody has some time to be alone and collect their own thoughts and figure out, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this is weird as hell. Like, it's hard enough to just be two people together, but to have children and try to build those relationships, you just got to be able to keep those positive vibes going. Like, I really think one of the main things I do, man, this is one of those blessings. I feel like you make the stuff that I see on your page, one, it makes me laugh, but then two, it makes me think. So it's like, to see that, and I'm a habitual Facebooker, but like if I get that opportunity to like see that in the morning, I'd be like, haha, that's funny as hell. And then I'd be like, okay, but then also to what the point that you sent me on, what was it? You had you sent me the Harvard business thing, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna do that because I feel like that's dope. And I want to try to like, learn something different. And I was like, okay, but I saw it on your Facebook page. So I just be thinking like, you know what I'm saying? You got to try to keep yourself motivated and then also just try to keep your sanity by, getting some peace wherever you can. It's a long answer, but I feel like if you stick to those things, it'll be like hella easy just to be able to function.
Right. And that's kind of been my struggle during this time, man. Like, I'm an overthinker, bro. Like my mind never shuts off. Like I'm constantly thinking like 1,000 thoughts a minute. So like just learning how to shut my mind, not off, but learning how to be present and be like in the moment. Like I just got into meditation, bro. Like seriously, like, and I know it sounds corny and like Zen and all that shit, but it has helped me out tremendously, bro. Like I was the first week, man, I was like laid off. I was drinking at like 8 in the morning, and that's not good, bro. That's
a professional alcoholic. Like, hello, here's my card, alcoholic. Yes, I'm good.
Yes. Like, hello, my name is Christopher, and I am on step 5. Now, man, like it was so. I had to figure out like why I was doing that, and the kind of person I am, man. Like I know how. I'm very like I'm self-aware. So like if I notice that I'm starting a trend, I know how to like hold myself accountable. Like, wait a minute, Chris, what the hell you doing, bro? This
but
ain't
don't you
you.
feel like the days are running together and like I don't know, like some people, and I'm never ever in life going to compare my situation to jail because that's not it. But I think just the mentality of knowing that there's only so many places that you can go, and realistically, you have to you lose the freedom of prerogative. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's such a thing again that we took for granted. So I don't want to ever say that, oh, this is like jail, because it's not at all.
You
Like,
better than me, Ryan. I call this jail. I said I've been on. Nah, I call it jail. I've been on house arrest for 17 days. I have everything except an ankle monitor, bro. This is jail, bro. This is the closest thing to it. The only difference is the food is a lot better, and if I drop my soap in the shower, I'm good. I ain't gotta worry about
that part. Shout out
those
to
are too good, you know. But yeah, I'm good. I dropped my soap on purpose. I'm good. I'm good. I ain't getting stuck. I'm straight.
So do you feel like it's time with like sports even, like, because I feel like I was so gassed on this Michael Jordan documentary, like I literally was like, okay, God, thank you. But I was like looking at clips from 1996, and it's like I forgot, you know, because I'm looking at all like this Mount Rushmore of basketball players, like looking at Space Jam, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's not like Rudy Gobert and, you know, Giannis, and like I'm like, oh wait, it's not all these, you know, Steph Curry's, but like it's so weird now that I feel like sports has been off. And I think you made the point where you were like a couple of weeks ago, you were like, you know, all these companies don't have 2 weeks worth of savings, and now, you know, you need a government bailout. Like, how is that okay? You had 2 weeks, and that was then you couldn't function. You had to fire everybody. So I feel like with like how that was with business, that's how I feel with sports. It's like after 2 weeks, I legitimately forgot about how exciting the NBA is. You know, because again, I took it for granted. The NFL, all this other stuff. Yeah, like I'd be gassed up. I mean, I don't really pay attention to the draft, but I'm like, now I'm actually paying attention because I know it's going to be 100% digital, and I'm like, okay. Like there's no combine to look at and be like, oh, look how fast he ran. No, none of that.
Right. The draft gonna be lit though, bro. For real, like, you know, it's gonna be lit this year, man.
Okay, but don't you feel like the draft is inherently boring, and they try to gas it up to make it not boring?
Nah, but it's only because I'm a nerd and like I like to see like, oh, what HBCU he went to. Like normally in the third round, you start getting the HBCU guys, so it's kind of cool to see a guy go from like a FAMU or like a Clark Atlanta. Like this guy's athletic department was like outside under a tree. Now he's going to be a multi-millionaire for the Atlanta Falcons. Like that's, I mean, like, but it's the storylines in it too. But the draft itself,
I think that's what they sell is the storyline. But I'm just like, it is the I wish.
Oh, the draft.
Yeah,
bro, the draft.
The technical of it, right? Yeah, I mean, they could just. If it wasn't like 7 minutes and maybe like 3 or 4, I feel like, dude, you knew, okay, you got $1 million executives making decisions. You knew who the hell you were gonna pick, and obviously,
take 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It don't take that much time, but then I also feel like, you know what I'm saying, everything changes. You know, if you get one person, if you get another one, and then that changes everybody else's boards. But I'm like, you obviously had your top 5. Now, when you get to the 3rd and 4th round, okay, to me, I realistically feel like you pulling strings. Like you pulling out the air. Hopefully you find Tom Brady. But I mean, I just feel like, you know, when you look at that stuff, you be like, bro, this is taking forever, man. Like,
you ain't lying, man. Like round 1, I think it's 10 minutes in between each pick, and that's 32 teams. So there's gonna be 32 teams picking with 10 minutes in between each one. Like that's too long.
And you know what it is? They're gonna fit them commercials in every time, bro.
That's it. That's why they do it. It's marketing, bro. It's marketing dollars.
And that's why I feel like, you know what? I'll say the NBA draft does a little bit more excitement to me because I feel like it's less players, you know what I'm saying? Over the course of, you know, everybody stops watching after the first round, realistically. But I mean, you know, the second round people are cool. I'm not gonna hate nobody on the second round. But I just feel like it does a little bit better intensity, and I just feel like, okay, cool, this is dope. But I also think too, summer league is right after it, so you can see those players. There's no summer league for the NFL. It's like they'll do some mini camps, but you know, it's sparse.
We don't get to see that though. Right. I agree, man. The draft is boring, like within itself. I never thought about it like that, but if you took away the TMZ storylines, it really ain't that entertaining to watch, bro.
Because then it's just like, you know, I don't know. And then also, I also feel like, okay, is it exciting to see a defensive end get picked and be like, oh my God, look at these. Okay, maybe a defensive end. I'm sorry, maybe right tackle. Is that like, oh my God, look at that, look at those highlights,
It's
Mark.
not sexy. It's not sexy at
Exactly.
all.
It's like wide receiver, quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
It's
those
like drafting it's like drafting a punter. Like, oh, he's a punter. He can kick the ball 40 yards. Okay, I mean, it's hard to do. It's a real skill. Don't get me wrong. Like, I can't punt a ball, but I mean, it's not something that we're like, oh.
Why won't they draft women? I just feel like, and I mean, maybe I'm coming from a different place, but I just feel like the LFL, which I watch, shout out to the LFL, and all those other, ladies out there doing it. I'm like, you can't get any like punters or potentially skill positions. Like, I just feel like there's some women that could do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of misogynist when it comes to that. A little bit.
Though? Why?
A little bit. I'm misogynist when it comes to that, bro, because like if you look at it like from like you look at things from like a GM perspective, right? That's not the casual fan. Like you look at it like, okay, this would be good for the game. This could push the sport forward. And you're right. It absolutely would. But you got to look at it's so much more that comes with putting a female in a all men's locker room. Like if you have a female coach in the NFL, that's one thing. But to have a female punter or a kicker, like, I don't know, man. Like Ray Rice got kicked out of the league for hitting a woman, and now she gets to get hit because it's her job. Like,
that is something serious.
Like, so it's like the feminists, like,
but I feel like there isn't a league for women to play football at that level, though, right? No. So I mean, I'm just thinking like, okay, say I am a soccer star, and I'm out here doing my thing, and I can blast the ball like nobody, you know what I'm saying? Difference. Shout out to Big Tiff on here. We always got love for Tiff. Shout out to you, ATL's finest. No, man, I just feel like if there's a woman that's out there that can do it, professionally, why is it that she shouldn't get an opportunity? That I'm not saying that I'm just saying, why isn't the opportunity there for them to be able to, like, I have a daughter. I want her to equally be able to compete. Not saying that I want her to be in the NFL, but I also feel like if she can be the CEO of a company, she should have an option to be able to, go after her dream, if that should be her dream.
Right. I think the opportunity should be there, but it doesn't always mean you should allow a person the chance to do something because they should have an opportunity. Like, you have to look at the physical, like, makeups between, like, men and women. Yeah. Like, if you took, like, all right, let me give you an example. Like, if you took, like, the best player in the WNBA now, if you were to put her in a one-on-one game of 21 against the worst player for the Atlanta Hawks, she would lose. I'm sorry, bro. Like, she would lose, man. Like, and I'm not saying like women.
You just said a man's strength is different from a woman's strength. Yeah,
yes,
I mean, that's absolutely that's true. That's
not to say women can't, bro. Like, these women are like immensely talented, man.
But but that goes to the point. Like, you shouldn't have a man competing in a woman's league or like a transgender person competing.
Bro, I will tell you this, man. If Harrison Barnes played for the Atlanta Dream, he would average 55 points, 30 rebounds, and 17 assists per night. And Harrison Barnes is like, he's average in the NBA, but if you put him against players who sit down to urinate, he would dominate them. It wouldn't be fair, man. It wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, I think inclusion is one thing, and you just want to make sure that the playing field is level as well. And I think that's what you want to be able to say, like, hey, everybody is on a level playing field, but there's also understanding that there's going to be exclusions or I guess you would say exceptions to the rule. So I just feel like it's weird to me. Sometimes I'm like, okay, the disparities in different things like pay and obviously just, when I was hearing about some of the WNBA players, like just like the dignity of having to ride commercial and having to like not get your own hotel room. Like, how do you play for a professional sport in the United States of America and you can't have your own hotel room when you travel to play? And I'm like,
right.
I just think that to me, and I know the NBA subsidizes, the WNBA and stuff, but it just seems to me like there's just some dignity points that if I'm a professional player, like at a level, like I'm getting my own Best Western room. I'm not having somebody.
You can't look at it from like a morality perspective, because if you look at it like right versus wrong, you're absolutely right. But if you look at it from like a dollars and cents perspective, the WNBA does not generate what the NBA does. When you go to WNBA games, people be wearing T-shirts and just regular clothes. When you go to NBA games, people wear actual jerseys and memorabilia of the team. Like, I've never seen anyone in a Candace Parker jersey over the age of 10.
Well, you know what I don't like about some jerseys is all the advertisements. But it's weird though, because when I got into soccer, shout out to Atlanta United, they're the best.
Hey, okay.
But no, it's weird because like the soccer jerseys, the biggest thing on the front says what is it, American life insurance or American something life, and I'm like, oh, never mind, this looks dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if it's your squad, yeah, you'd be ready. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, put that Ford logo on there. Screw that. See, I think the NBA is gonna get there, but I just think it's gonna hurt because it's like, you know, the logos are there, but they're not like god awful size. You know, and I feel like soccer does that, and I feel like the other leagues are just waiting because the money is there and it's like a cash grab. You know?
Right. The money is there, but as it pertains to the WNBA. And we can be real with each other, bro. Like we men, bro. Do you think the WNBA has the talent? Because it has like the marquee names. You got the Maya Moores and the Brittany Griners and the Candace Parkers.
Okay. I will say this: backcourt to backcourt, yes. I feel like the talent would be the same. You know, obviously, I think the difference between the front court and, you know, what the guard has to do penetrating the front court, they're not going to have that muscle to be able to come in and do that. But I would love to see, you know, a Candace Parker. I'm not a Candace Parker, but what's Diana Taurasi, you know, do something with like Isaiah Thomas. I don't really see her coming up the floor being any different than him coming up the floor, you know, except she's going to be a little bit smaller. So maybe that's more difficult to play with guard.
I think she'll take him.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So I feel like, yes, there could be a lot of, and that's why I feel like they put them in a skills competition, because those are primarily guard positions. Obviously, they're not in the dunk contest, but I think, to be honest, I would like to see a woman in the dunk contest because half the crap they doing isn't even cool no more. So I'm like, not saying it's a gimmick, but I also feel like half of that stuff would be better than what they're doing now.
Oh, bro, I agree. They need to revamp All-Star Weekend completely. Like, I agree with everything you said about that. It's horrible, man. Like, they don't have any big names in it, and they just do the same dunk package. I'm like, there's no creativity, man, like at all.
And I feel like you've kind of hit that apex. And I'm like, maybe we can see something different than the dunk. I'm not saying like, you know, there is something better, but I also feel like maybe there is something that's more creative where, you know, I like seeing the people that be jumping on the trampolines and dunking. I'm not saying I'm willing to see LeBron do that, but I'm like, I would like to see somebody maybe that's a regular person do it.
LeBron is a trampoline, man. That man is a freak of nature, bro.
But if you give him a trampoline, imagine what he could do. That's all I'm saying. I would tune in for that, but hey.
Let me ask you this right here, man, because like we talking about like this is a hot button issue, but most men are afraid to talk about this. So I salute you for going where a lot of men are afraid to go. Like they are afraid to talk about women's sports and WNBA as it compares like to the NBA. But there was a horse competition last week. And this is why I always talk about the WNBA the way I do. I'm not against women playing sports. I'm not against women competing against men. But there was a lady who played for the Chicago Sky, and she went against Zach LaVine for the Chicago Bulls. And they had got to HORS, so it was on E. So Zach kind of cheated, and he did like a reverse 360 dunk.
That's unfair, bro.
No, sir. This is why I'm gonna say it's not. It is fair. It's fair because if this is a game of horse, there's no stipulation you can put in it to give either person an advantage or a disadvantage. You have to play the game straight up, man. You have to. And even if you playing against a guy that can't dunk, because I can't dunk anymore. In high school and college, I was sticking my elbow in the rim. I could barely touch net. I'm only dunking with a McNugget and a barbecue sauce right now.
Respect it.
But I'm saying, like, if a man dunk in a horse competition against me, I can't say, bro, you got it, Ryan.
No,
If
I
you
mean,
dunking and you hang on the rim, hey, big fella, you
I
still
feel
got
like
your knee.
if I go to a basketball court, and this is today, any gym, anywhere, I go with the expectation that I'm trying to run with the B team. You know what I'm saying? Like I am 110%. Like, bro, just put me up with the
You
dude
know,
that
with
like, yeah, who got like the asthma inhalers. I want to be in the
the
dude. You
guys
know
who
what I'm
got
saying?
kids and a wife and
Yeah,
bills
no,
and a
no.
mortgage.
I want to see the dude that wear the breakaway Nikes and he got the whole Jordan fit. I want to hoop with them. Like, I don't want to get out there with the dudes with
Oh,
the
bro,
sleeves
like
on.
we're those guys now, man.
No, exactly. So I'm like, I don't have an expectation that I'm gonna get out there and be, even I wasn't, LeBron James back in the day. So I'm like, what makes you feel like it's not like wine? It doesn't get better with time.
No, it
It
does.
gets a lot worse.
Our bodies age like milk, bro, not wine.
No, exactly. It's terrible. And then I also feel like just being able to run it, I just feel like that is a big, gain in itself to be able to go and be like,
It is,
I
bro.
ran full court, you know what I'm saying, 2-3 games. Like you be taking that for granted. You was in shape back in the day. Like to me,
Yep.
that's like a whole afternoon workout that I paid somebody $50 to train me for. Like that's the amount of work I feel like a pickup game of basketball is today.
Right. It is, man. It's a lot, man. But I miss pickup, even though I'm only good for 2 games. You're gonna get 2 games out of me, then I am a half court guy. But full court can't do it.
I feel like I don't play outdoors because it's too much. I feel like when people go to like a blacktop and Atlanta, shout out to them, they have like these dope like polyurethane courts, like the plastic ones that people put together like
Right.
outside, but they make them look like it like all black and orange like Atlanta Hawk ones. But they're just like in the regular neighborhood, which is so dope, and they have like the legitimate
Atlanta, man. I have to visit Atlanta, man.
it was such a vibe, and I was like, because who loves basketball, so I was like, this is dope. But the weird thing is, like, I feel like outside basketball, people be taking it to that next level, and I feel like indoors, sometimes you'd be like, okay, I don't know, something about falling on that wood feels a little bit better than that concrete or whatever else. Because I'd be like, bro, y'all too serious. When I jump in the air, y'all be jumping too. I'd be like, nah, man, I can't come down. Like I will tear a whole Achilles out here and be like literally in the poorhouse because I can't walk. So it's like I can't.
And I hate the double rim too, man. I hate it. It's so because I'm not a good shooter.
Double rims. Is there a reason why there's double rims? I don't understand.
It's supposed to protect you from hanging on it or dunking on it to where like with regular rims, like they break easier, and like the double rim.
Okay.
The city ain't trying to replace the rim every time the black guys decide to go out and run a tournament. So, they put the double ones up to where you have to be like Reggie Miller to make a shot. And I'm not Reggie Miller. Like, I ain't shooting more bricks than Pablo Escobar.
No, but I remember every time I go to a park and I saw I had a double rim, I literally be like, all right, I'll go to the other one. Like, it ain't even worth it at that point. Like, you just be like, no, I'm good.
You go to the gym. Let me go to 25 Fitness, man.
I think that was in Jackson, Muse Park was a double rim. I'm almost 100%. And I remember thinking like, why is it like this? But then I remember there's like this urban legend in black people. You gotta be like, be like, hey,
there were guys who can shoot on that, bro.
And that was the urban legend. People would be like, if you can shoot on a double rim, you better on a single rim. Which realistically, us idiots was like, yeah, because it's like double. It's the same diameter, bro. It shouldn't change anything. But you used to feel that though.
Yeah. I used to hit layups at Muse Park and thought I was going to the league.
But it used to be double the work for the layup, though. You used to be feeling that, man.
Because the ball don't just go in. The ball got to like roll around. Like on that episode of Family Matters.
And it's just going and going. Yeah.
Come on, bro. It's just 2 points. Come on, man. But yeah.
I think this is, like you said, one of the weirdest times that, it's like I value so much of the stuff that we used to do, but then I also am in this space where it's like I kind of look at it and go, man, I did a lot of dumb shit.
We all do.
And I'm just like, I will not mess this up. God, please let me go back outside. Like, I'm not at that point of like protesting, but it made me so mad. Mm-hmm. Like, why is it that people are going to the Capitol and standing outside and like talking about they ready to go back?
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating to me because I just feel like, I don't know, man, like people really they don't take, or they do take for granted being healthy, and it's people in the hospital, it's people that can't get out, it's people that have to be essential, you know what I'm saying? The nurses and the truck drivers and, just this idiots like us that are going to Walmart and Starbucks still. I don't know. I just feel like we're all working together. As much as it's red and blue, as much as it's rich and poor, the virus don't have nobody's name on it. You know what I'm saying? White, black, green, brown, educated, not educated. It's like you seeing people dying. So when I see stuff like that, it makes me feel like they're not a part of let's get through this, right? It makes me feel like I am better than you and I should have more or preferential treatment to be able to do what I want to. And that's the frustrating part. And I just can't get over that.
Yeah, man. Like, I think it's a little bit of that. And I also think it's kind of a combination of that with the fact that people don't have security, man. Like, it's just everything is kind of like it's up in the air right now. And that stimulus package they gave the first go around, they know there wasn't going to be enough to take care of people. And if you have a family, man, and the unemployment system don't go as smooth as you would think. So there's no money coming in. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's people feel like they got to go back to work because they may not have faith in the government and being able to provide a Band-Aid for the temporary times, So it's a lot of reasons as to why people want to go back. You got, business owners who they rely 100% on their income, but I do agree life should mean more than what you get financially. But hey, I see it different. Like, some people see it like I got to make money today. And if I don't make money today was a wasted day. I know people who think like that. And I understand that way of thinking, but I'm like, hey, you may have to take an L right now to live and be healthy, and your kids could be healthy. So you can live to go back to work once all of this stuff, subsides.
But that's what I feel like, though. The cool thing about it is, though, man, as much as we were separate, as much as people like to make us all different, you know what I'm saying, and put us in these herds and these different colors and all these other things, it's like at the end of the day, we all literally can be on a respirator, right? And we all can be like, man, you know what? I really took this shit for granted. So I feel like that's the lit part about everything is like, man, what's it going to be like, in June? Like, literally, you can't be like, you're my brother because we went through this COVID thing together. I don't know if people going to be like that, but I'm going to feel like there's this, one particular thing that we've all been through that we can be like, man, but we made it.
It's a unifier. Absolutely. I agree, man. And no one's really talking about that right now, man. Like, that's a true unifier, man. Like, it's like, and like you just said, like, June is only a month away, bro. Once we get like finished with May, June right there. So like, I don't think this stuff is gonna like subside anytime soon. But it's always, this is the beauty of America too. You got the freedom to do whatever you want to do. If you want to be smart about a situation, you can do that. But if you want to be a complete idiot, you have the right to be an idiot, even to your own detriment. Like, that is something I gotta say, man. It's like, it's the good and the bad, but it's kind of like natural selection, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be people who put themselves in harm's way, and it's going to be people who know how to, okay, I'm going to take a step back to protect me and mine because I see the bigger picture. So if I'm just going to get through this so we can live to see what happens post COVID-19. Some people don't even think past like April. Like, they're not thinking about May. Like, they're risking it right now, like you said, at the Capitol. And I'm like, bro, like, what you doing, man? Like, you don't got to be a city hall, man. Like, go home.
No, yeah. Anthony just said 2020 is a wrap. We're not going out. Yeah. I mean, but to me, I feel like, what are we trying to go out for? Because I'm like, the beach is gonna be there, the movie's gonna be there, the mall gonna be there. I mean, obviously, it sucks because I feel like we're living in Groundhog's Day, except our clothes are changing. So, I mean, but it's like, boom, I'm waking up, going to get my stuff. I'm doing the things I need to. But then it's just like Netflix and like life is such a big statement to me now. Because I'm like, dude, I have a relationship with, like, I watched the Waco City show on Netflix. 7 hours. Literally, I watched 7 hours of a show. I could have learned so many different things. I could have been like, what is my child gonna, really let's have an in-depth conversation with dad. I don't know. But I killed it. And it was just like I didn't even have a second thought about it because I was like, shit, I got another, god awful 4 weeks of this. I mean, and that's on the liberal side. So I'm just like, it's weird that I feel like we're disconnecting as we have to be connected in, just proximity. It's weird.
Right. Man, I believe that this here, the people who are okay with staying home, and no one's really okay with staying home, but the people who is easier for, I feel like they may like their life a little more. You got to understand, man, a lot of people want to get the hell out the house. They tired of their husband. They tired of their girlfriend. Their kids are driving them crazy. They may not have the best. Hell, like, in my case, like, I'm single and stuff. So, like, on days I don't have, like, CJ, I enjoy it because I'm kind of like a hermit. But if I wasn't a hermit and I did not like to be by myself, I would probably go crazy too, bro. So I would want to get out the house too. So I try to understand like other perspectives as far as like, why would you want to get out right now? But if you don't like being in those four walls all day, if you know how to enjoy it, like you and your wife, you're creative, like you actually interact and engage with your kids, man.
I try to do something different, and I just feel like even for us being able to, one thing that I got out of one of my friends, he did a lot of time in Germany with the army. God, I said army. And he was like, I wanted to, figure it out. He was like, everybody takes walks over here. He was like, they take mad walks at like 4 a.m. and they just be doing their thing. And I was like, that's weird, man. But then it's like now I literally wake up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I get my daughter up, I get my son up, and my wife is still working. And like I'll just take them and we'll go walk, bro. We will be out for like an hour just getting it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same stuff, but it's like you're almost becoming a part with, and I mean my neighborhood is not nature, but it's not inside of my house. And I feel like that's one of the cool things that like I'll probably be doing that for a long time. And I think that's probably gonna help my health more in the long term than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing something that gets me motivated, and then I also feel like it helps me, think about other stuff, which I feel like that's a big thing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Hold on, Anthony gave us a comment. He said the world focused on today, and then now stop focusing on the vacations and events they're going to miss. We could unify and focus on a cure. We're focusing on the wrong shit.
That's facts. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I also agree. People, they worried about the wrong shit. But I will say this. The Be a Man podcast is out now. Make sure y'all check out my man, Chris. I got the link below. It's scrolling. Y'all been seeing it for a long time. But talk to me a little bit, Chris, about this. Is this the third season?
Fourth season, man. Fourth season.
Okay. I got you. Fourth season. Talk to me a little bit about it, man.
Yeah, man. So the Be a Man podcast is something me and a good friend of mine named Corin started. We started this podcast in 2018 in November. So we're coming up on 2 years.
Congrats on, being able to keep that thing going, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. The whole, like, the premise of it is to pretty much create a safe space for men, because we don't have a lot of safe spaces, and especially during like this quarantine, there's no barbershop, bro. There's no barbershop, right? So
is that part?
Like, yeah. As far as like men having a space to where we can talk about real issues, like we can talk about sports, and we can talk about clapping cheeks, we can talk about getting money and all the other stuff, but there's real issues that men deal with and we go through that we never have the platform to talk about. So we wanted to come together and create a platform where we could talk about insecurities, the pressures of being a man with the responsibility and the world on your shoulders, and you can't cry, and like all of these gender roles that are put out there. And it's kind of like, it's really refreshing to have a space to talk about it, but to also be able to engage like with the listeners. Like we do this thing like to where like we have call-ins, and like we have people who listen to the show call in and like ask questions, or we just have dialogues about like whatever the topic is, or if they want to talk about something else, we talk about that too, man. I always try to go towards the inspiration and the motivation and try to give you something that to make you think. Like I always say, like, I never try to tell you what to think. I just want you to think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing, man. Like just having, we can have those fun episodes where we talk about women and sports or like miscellaneous stuff. But it's also good to talk about like mental health and how to be better fathers, how to be better husbands, how to be better people, so we can better serve like the people around us. Because you have to serve yourself. You have to treat yourself like someone you care about in order to live a beautiful life, and like that should be the mission.
It's crazy. I just had this amazing idea, and it's weird because I think one of the things that I struggled with this show, man, was like I started just wanting to talk to my friends. Then it turned into, my friends have businesses. Let me talk about some of those things.
Right.
Then it turned into like some of my friends have dealt with some issues, right? And I want to talk about that. But then you blessed me with this thought, and I just thought about it, man. It was like, why don't I have some people on here that can talk about that, like being a father, and what does it look like being a father in your 50s compared to being a father in your 30s? Like,
Right.
what are some of those things that people need to get out here and heard? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? You have a completely different perspective than I do what it means to be a father at your age, because I wasn't,
Right.
what I'm saying, a new father at 30, you know what I'm saying, comparable to when I was 22. So it's like
Oh my
that.
God, I couldn't imagine, man. God bless you, brother.
No,
You're
no,
doing a great
exactly.
job.
But you know what though? Let me see how God works. What some people think might have been for bad. At 42 years old, my children will be out the Krizia, Playboy. And so, I'm like, I'm out here winning. I'm about to be,
You outsmarted the Matrix. You did. You
you
did.
hear me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out here living, man. But you know what though? Kids are forever. I still ask my
Right.
mama for some bread once in a while. Shout out to you, mama. Love you to death.
Come on, man. Come on now.
I am 31 whole years old. I don't give no cares about it, man. If my mom want to fill up my gas tank, you the realest, mama. I love you to death. You know what?
Right.
But yeah, man, I just think like that's one of the cool things we'll try to do, man. Is like just as things move forward, I think that's the coolest thing about this platform is like even you and me having this conversation, it's like it evolves the show. And I think
Absolutely.
that's the cool thing about it is like it's not always like, oh, who's Ryan talking to? It's like, what's the perspective that you're getting that's different that you might not be able to get from media? Because what I think is crazy is that I've never seen four men talk about fatherhood in a platform like this. Even on TV or potentially in a situation where it's like, where's a platform that you said there's a safe space potentially for somebody to talk about something that they're afraid to deal with or potentially have had some struggles with. I just think it's a cool medium.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah. And then too, man, like you don't know like how therapeutic it is. Or maybe you do, man. Like
I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah, like a lot of the posts I do, like the serious posts where like I'm trying to be like introspective or like enlightening and stuff.
A double hotep is what I call it. Double hotep.
Bro, look, man, like I don't really too much do that stuff to be a motivational speaker. Like a lot of the things that I post, even like some of the episodes I do the podcast, a lot of the episodes are to uplift me, man, because I'd be depressed. I'd be going through stuff. I'd be like, I'm not this all wise, all knowing, super deep. I don't think I'm that deep. I just think I have common sense and I'm honest. You know what I'm saying? And I'm introspective. Like I pay attention to how my life has went and how my life is going, and I hold myself accountable to where like I'm making sure that I'm trying to put myself in the best position to have a better tomorrow than I had today. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we could do, bro. Like that's it. Like this whole thing, like I love what Nipsey Hussle had, like with the marathon, because that's what life is, bro. It's not a sprint, man. This is a long life, bro. Like Ryan, we'll live till we like 108, 109, bro.
Look, if I get to just 65, man, I feel like I'll be so happy, bro. Like literally all the McDonald's I've eaten in my life, man. I'm a victory in the Lord's work.
Yes, man. Because, man, I'm not gonna go on like a preach. I'm gonna say this though. Like we always try to think that we're supposed to have it all figured out, right? Like we're young, like you're 31 and I'll turn 31 in July this year. Yeah. But bro, like if you look at the full like scope of life, if you look at how much longer we're gonna be here, Lord willing, bro, we're in nigga, like we are in a 98 chapter book and we're only on chapter 30 and 31. Like, bro, like
character building at this point.
Yeah. Bro, like and I used to beat myself up because I would compare myself to other people and I'd be like, man, Chris, like I'm doing good, but I should be doing a lot better than what I'm doing. But you don't understand, like I was 25 at the time. I'm like, bro, like you're 25, you got a whole, like you got 6 more decades, bro. Like this is like you can't beat yourself up about where you are or where you aren't. Like you can't. It's a long journey, man, and it's not something that you're gonna accomplish in one day. Like in football, like every touchdown ain't like a 99-yard run. Like you have like 5-yard run, a 2-yard pass, a 15-yard pass, a 8-yard run, and you build your way up to go downfield to eventually score. And that's how life is, man. You can't try to get everything in your life in a Hail Mary, bro. You can't.
Yeah, and then I also think too, there's something about being able to look back at your highlights. You know, it's not about, like you said, you're never gonna. It's nice to see that, you know, that what is it, the touchback, or you see something like crazy. But I think what you see is like, okay, I was able to move the ball downfield consistently, and that showed how great of a team I had. And that's what I feel like is life is like, okay, I got my spouse, I got my kids, I got my job, I got faith, I have my family, you know, and all those things working together move me down field, comparable to being like, I hit the lotto and it went great. You know what I'm saying? So I think those are those, like, okay, the journey though, to be able to get to where we're going at that 75 and at that 80 is like, man, a quick little side note. My granddad, he actually had to go to the hospital 2 nights ago, and he's 84 years old. Shout out to Rotha Patterson. He's the man. He
was my substitute teacher at Jackson Middle School. I love him.
The realist, man. He's the realist. He's an educator. It's all educators.
Yes. He was a great mentor, man. To a lot of young
amazing man. Amazing man.
Much respect to that man. Much respect to him.
Always. And you know, he went to the hospital, and thank God they said that he had pneumonia. You know, he's 84, and you know, you just think about that situation and how it could have went a different way. But the EMS actually told my mother before they took him to the emergency room. I'm sorry, to the actual hospital, that if he did have COVID, she would not be able to visit him. And so if she wanted to say anything to him, to go ahead and do that. My mom just got choked up and couldn't say anything, which, of course, what do you say, you know, at that point? Right. Yeah, but my granddad, God bless him, he says, I'm going to be all right. I feel fine. He said, I have had an amazing life. Do not be sad. You know, and
why you gotta say that, man? Why you gotta say that?
No, seriously. And I'm like, is this from a movie? Did he say this to be dramatic? I don't know, but it was almost like to be full like that. You know, to be able to see your great grandkids, to be able to see, you know, multiple generations that you worked super, super hard to get through. You know what I'm saying? Press on and to be successful. You know, like I said, it was just amazing. And I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I was emotional and sad because I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't have anything. And, you know, it's the worst time to be in the hospital. But I was just so proud to be like, man, that's my granddad. Like, he literally said, I've had an amazing life. Don't be sad. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's how I want to go. That's how I want to feel. I want to have that.
So many people. He's touched the lives of people he don't even know, man. Like, he taught me the importance of doing my homework, bro. Because I used to be like a knucklehead, but you know, yeah, like. But he was like, "Nah, just do your homework. If you always do your work." He told me this, bro, and I never forgot. He said, "If you always do what you're supposed to do, no one can fuss at you for what you're not doing."
That part. Yeah, it's always on top of you. I mean, it's like mental
When he
note.
said that, bro, I'm a grown ass man, bro. I never forgot that. That man, bro, he touched a lot of people, man. And that's his legacy, man. Like that's the beauty of like when that man said he's lived a full life. That's what he mean, like, bro. That's legacy, man. Like people that, like, people that he ain't seen in 20, 30 years have stories and they remember like positive things about him, man. So that's profound. Like that's what we all should try to live towards a little bit.
And I think that we all have an opportunity to do it. But I think about even having that statement is like to have to fight through Jim Crow, to be able to fight through, economic disadvantages. And then also, just in general, being able to keep your head above water through recessions and everything else, it's like to get to that point though, man, it's like, I don't know how somebody is able to get there, but it's like to think 84, God, I mean, what else I need to see? Guys giving me more than he promised, but then also being in that situation that I am able to see my legacy in action. Like, can you imagine that? Just be able to see your great grandkids being successful and being like, man, like that's me though. Like that, I don't know. It's a big deal. I think it's
right. It is, man. And the fact that you see that right now, like too many times, people don't even have that way of like, they don't have that perspective until like much later in life. And it's fine. Like there's no like timeline on when you're supposed to have like insight and perspective. But the fact that you have it young, like you understand like the importance of legacy right now, bro.
But that's what I feel like right now, the time that we're given is like you get this opportunity to be able to focus on the shit that actually matters. Like Anthony was saying, it's like we're focusing on the wrong things. And it's like, what really makes me wealthy is that my kids see me every day as like a superhero.
Right.
That's something that's going to change really, really fast. But I can't quantitatively put that in a ball and be like, this is worth the SUV. You know what I'm saying? And I can't trade it, and I would never want to trade it. But I feel like that's the stuff right now that like when I wake my kids up and I make them breakfast, it's like that's potentially creating a memory, and I think that's one of those things where I want to be in the business of creating memories with you instead of trying to, give you the world. Or, one thing that I did for my son, shout out to Jason. He's the man. Jason is the king of East Point and Atlanta South Side. I told him, I said, my son's birthday is on Sunday and I don't know, what to do. And I was like, I wanted to ask, would you kind of, let him see the police car or something? And he's just like, yeah, man, like let's get it set up. Let's bring him down to the station. Let's do like a walkthrough and everything. And it was like, for him, that probably was nothing, because he has to do that every day. For my son, that's a situation where he's going to have an experience, right? And that's better than taking him to Chuck E. Cheese or Six Flags, even if it was open, but just being in that situation that, okay, cool. I'm always remember my dad did this on my birthday and he did something that was, out of the box and maybe something a little bit cheesy, but it was also something that he did, with me because he thought about it, and that is like, that's the fatherhood stuff that I feel like I wish I would have known about 10 years ago, and not necessarily just the materialistic stuff and being like the time that people say it's corny as hell, it's unnecessary. You just be like, oh my God, I don't want to hear it again. But you need to beat that home in people because you can get yourself locked up in, I have to, just be a provider. I just have to be able to, take them out to the little league game or do, It's like, no, just take my kid to the park. They appreciate that so much more than the $25 toy that you just got them to shut the hell up, which I've done a lot of times. But I mean, it's just, that's me, man. That's me.
Right. And when you say that, Ryan, man, don't ever think that is corny or that's like, you beating the dead horse. Because I'll tell you, man, like when you say that, you're being a testimony and you're being a beacon of like positive affirmations. And during these times, especially, man, people need positive affirmations because you spend a lot of time like in your head and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And, like us men, we don't have too many outlets to where we can just be like, hey, babe, this is fucking with me today. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the way that you're talking about that, bro, men need to hear that, man. Women do too. Like, I ain't just trying to like exclude like women, but like, men really need to hear stuff like that. Fathers got to hear that kind of positivity, because when you hear it, you may think, okay, this is all I talk about, but it may be someone to where like they may not hear you every time, but they may hear you on the time that they need to hear you, and that can change their whole life.
Yeah, Anthony said create memories and traditions with your kids now because they'll grow when the blink of an eye. It's difficult to create traditions with grown people that are trying to find their own identity. No, I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get scared, man. I was looking at my son today, and I was like, "Bro, you about to be a beast, though." I was just like, "You skinny." I was like, "You skinny, but you taller than everybody." And I was like, "You about to be about 6'3", probably by the time you get about 9th grade, you're gonna be banging." And I was like, see, that was my only thing. I was a little bit heavy. I'm like, "You're gonna be about 175, 180. You're gonna be out there like KD, boy." I need it. I mean, just looking at him, like, look at his arms below his knees. I'm like, he gonna have long wingspan. I'm over here looking like LeVar Ball. Like, all right, but he uncoordinated. I gotta figure it out.
Right, true, man. Thanks.
No, but that's like you said though, man. It's like you get an opportunity to, to get this time, and just be able to be, like you said, a father. It's like you don't put those things in dollars and cents. I think you put those things in decades and years. I think that the decades are going to go by, to your point. 30 to 40 years are going to go by, but you're always going to remember that time that your dad made you feel, and then space, what I'm saying, special, smart, kind, lovable, all these different things. And it's like, I don't remember the bad times with my parents. You know what I'm saying? I know that we went through them. They weren't always great, but I remember all of those.
Don't stand out as much as the good times. Right.
The tangible things that, I'm sorry, the memories aren't tangible. You can't touch them, but I think that they shape who you are as a person. And I think that I want my children to go out. My dad used to always say, I want you guys to be ready to compete on a global scale. And I never understood that. And I was like, what is a global scale? I'm like, I'm not going to be competing with kids in Japan. It was like, no, but you should be able to understand that if you have to go to Japan or work with somebody from
hold your own,
you'll be able to hold your own and be able to function because you're proud of who you are. You understand that you have an education and you can lean back on your experiences where you've been into, I swear, dude, exposure. That's so big to me. When I talked to Mila and she said to me, Ryan, I teach code switching in my class, bro. I was like, oh, exactly. Like I had to put my hands over my face. I'm like, yeah, you code switching.
She's how old?
Mila is, I think she's a little bit older than us, in her mid-30s, but she teaches I believe the 8th grade. And she was like, yeah, like you got to understand Miss Crawford in the classroom is different than Mila, who you going to see, in Memphis. And I was like, that is such a legitimate statement. Just like I am a different person at my job than I am at the house, you know what I'm saying? Or in the streets. So it's like, you have to have that understanding. And I think to be able to teach it to the kids that young, it's like, yes, you should be able to function when it comes to a work environment, a social environment, a religious environment. And it's like, yes, that's okay to not be who you want to be at every moment. And that's such a skill set, man. I'm so excited that she's doing that for the kids.
Absolutely, bro. Yep.
I'm over here getting it in. Well, look, y'all, we're enjoying. We got to get back to 420. I just want to thank Chris. Y'all make sure y'all jump on his podcast, To Be a Man podcast everywhere. We got the link scrolling at the bottom so y'all can see that. We're gonna try to get back on this thing, man. I'm excited about where the show is going. I'm excited about just you being able to incorporate, and I also feel like me being able to hopefully get on an episode of Be the Man podcast. I just feel like I ain't, what I'm saying? You've been on my show twice. I ain't been on your show a quarter of the time. I just,
Hey, bro, look, bro. Hey, man. So look, I have a YouTube channel that I'm working on, and I'm looking to launch in May or June. And you're gonna be on one of the first 2 episodes, bro.
Look, so I'm about to be ready. I'm gonna get a new shirt and everything. We probably gonna be on quarantine still, so shit,
we'll be on lockdown, so we'll have time.
We got time
to series, man. Yeah, but thank you for having me on for a second time, man. Like I appreciate it the first time, bro. I mean, I always have a blast. Like when we chop it up, bro, it's always it's fun, like catching up you and exchanging wits and
we
stuff,
got
man.
to
So
do
thank you
like
for having me on, man.
What's gonna happen? We're gonna do like I was talking to some of the people. They're like, man, we got to be out here like on the decks when we opened up. I was like, man, we're gonna be out.
Yes.
We're gonna be out here. Tiffany Bird was like, you need to get a couch and take it to homecoming and just be out there. And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, that's gonna like blow everybody away, man.
Bro, you finna change the game, bro. Look, I'm booking that flight. Let me know whenever this is over.
I'm literally gonna go to the Goodwill. I'm gonna buy a little janky, $50 couch, and I'm gonna get a U-Haul and just take it to all the events. And I'm gonna be like, yo, chop it up with me. Sit down on the couch, man. Let's go.
Bro, we gotta get the band to play you a theme song. You need a theme intro, man. That would be so lit, man. I don't know who the band director is there at Lane anymore, but we gotta work on that, man. Because this show here is for the culture.
I feel exactly, and I feel like this is something that the people want, and I also think it'll be lit just because it'll be something that's different and hot. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is something I would want to do every year because I want to get turned, but I also feel like this would be one of the most coolest experiences, man. Is hosting that homecoming parade, man. It's like it just and I just have a good time. So it's like to do this, and I tell people too, man, like I found something I like doing for free, and I feel like that in itself is priceless. Mm-hmm. So it's like I could be doing this when I'm 60. I could be doing this, next week, and I just get just as much fun out of it. So I feel like,
and Ryan, also too, man.
Thanking you.
Everybody wants to be on your show. That's the thing. It's a lot of dudes out here. This is where you get to talk your shit, bro. People have shows that don't nobody really want to rock with. You got shows that people want to be on. Like when you I didn't want to be thirsty, but like a week ago, you had posted something on Facebook saying, yo, who should I interview next? I want to say me, nigga. Round 2, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to say that, like, you know what I'm saying? Cause they're like, yo, like this nigga thirsty. He just trying to get on the show. But look, I am a fan, bro. Like every time
bro. I'll be like, man, look, we just trying to have an experience, and I think everybody knows once you get on, it's just like, I mean, I have people here crying, man. Like I would tell somebody, I was like, I didn't do this to get super deep. I didn't do this. I was like, I did this to literally. I put in the title, "Come waste some time with us." I was trying to waste time, but then I found a passion, and I was just like, that's just.
You have started something, man. You have started a Rap-A-Lot Rockefeller Records type thing, and you don't even realize it. But you started something really big, man. Like I watch every episode, man, and you know how to let people talk to where like they get deeper into the dialogue, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you get to draw the emotion out of people without really directing them to it. It just happens organically because of how you know how to flow a conversation. So bro, I'm a fan, bro.
With I had the show with Mel, and we had one of the coolest conversations, and he was so real about the death of his mother. Shout out to Mel. He's
shout out to that man,
he is
bro.
A savant. I want to say that word as much as I can about Mel. Mm-hmm. He's a savant. But we did an after show, where we end these calls, and we was chopping it up for another 30 minutes, and nobody saw it. And it was one of the realest convos. And that's when you hit me up on this one. I was like, I got to do it, because I was like, having questions is good. Having a conversation is real. And that's what I feel like as the show is growing, because it's like people don't watch because I'm going to ask a question that's going to make a person look bad. People watch because they see the real person answer questions.
Yes.
Right. And so that's where I feel like the show is just exciting and different, because it's like when I talk to somebody about, losing a parent or potentially not being able to take care of a special needs child, that's stuff that I don't deal with on the day to day. But it's interesting to see it from a perspective of somebody that looks like me, or has had an upbringing like me, or potentially has had an education like me. So I feel like that's the part where I'm like, yo, this is something different, where I don't want to say that I'm excited to talk to regular people, but I think the stories that regular people tell are the most interesting, because I'm like, this isn't a secret agent. This isn't a spy. This isn't, what I'm saying, a football, movie where it's like, oh, they run the touchdown and win. People lose in life.
Yes.
That to me is the exciting part of what I get to do, is like, you get to talk, like to sit here and talk to you. You literally are a single father that's unemployed, because of a virus that you can't see, trying to figure out how to manipulate the world to be able to do something. And it's like, how is that not the most interesting thing in the world? I mean, their back against their wall situation is more imperative to you being able to be successful. I'm sorry. That's the coolest thing ever. So I just, man, anytime we get on this couch, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be a good time. You invited on the next one when we get this this father show up, man. Whenever I do this, if y'all know a cool person to put on here, just let me know. I'm all about it. And shout out to big time Alan.
Shout out to Alan, man. Shout out to the king right there.
Small talk with Alan. I can't remember the rest of it, but you know it.
He got a good show too, man.
Yeah, I hate that I missed it. We tried to coordinate about the show, and he told me, he was like, "Oh, I'm going up live," and I was like, "What time?" He was like, "Oh, I'm going up 9 o'clock," and I was like, "Oh, I'm going up 10," and I was like, "Oh, wait, I forgot we're on Eastern and you're on Central." So no issues there. My brother is making it happen, man. Small talk with Alan, man. Y'all make sure y'all jump on that. It's a vibe. I think it's something super cool. You get an opportunity to check out, but he really puts a perspective on religion, gender, everything when it comes to mental health, and just all wraps it into one. But I think that what he does is he puts a perspective on a human, but then also the actual higher power and how we have to, almost like live in balance. And I think the cool thing about Alan's show is that he's giving you so much of himself. And that's what I think, like, I don't know, when I listen to your stuff, when I see your stuff, you're giving me, Chris, in the realest that it can be, and I think with Alan, he opens it up to, this is me as a human being that's just trying to figure it out like you. I also have an amazing understanding of, the Bible and what, other deities think about. So it's just an amazing show, man. Y'all make sure y'all check it out.
Please check out that show, man. Like, he has some really great content, and like, his perspective is very down to earth, man. Like, he's not someone who speaks from like a high mountain, like speaking down to the congregation. Like, he's right there on the floor level with you, talking to you. Like, so I love that about him, man.
I also love that his church has an actual like painting behind him when he preaches of like Black Jesus and like the actual water. So shout out to Cleves Temple, I think, is that what it is, in Memphis, right outside there. Shout out to them. CME, baby. Always about that CME life. You know what I'm saying? Gang around here. I don't know how to Jesus. And on that note, we're gonna end the show.
All right, brother. You have a good one, man. And thank you so much.
No, appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.